Hi, my name is Lori Owens, and I'm here today to share with you my capstone presentation for Instructional Leadership 576. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see the presentation clearly. The title of my project is Increasing the Reading Proficiency of 6th Grade Students at C.E. Hanna Elementary School in Oxford, Alabama. To begin, research says that reading is the most crucial skill for success, not only in academics, but for life in general. According to research, students should be able to read successfully both literary and informational text in order to be considered a proficient reader. For this reason, after looking at our school's data, I developed the problem statement that there was a need to increase reading proficiency in our 6th grade students. The hypothesis statement that I created to try and solve this problem is that reading proficiency will increase through planning for effective instruction, increasing student engagement, and incorporating instructional strategies. Context and demographics of study. The project took place, or the research took place, at C.E. Hanna Elementary School in Oxford, Alabama. We have approximately 630 students in grades 5 and 6. We are a Title I school with about 50% of our students receiving free and reduced lunch. The target population for this particular research project was the 6th grade group of students at the time, which had about 337 students. 55% of those students were female, 45% were male. You can look at the pie chart on the screen there for ethnicity. By far, the Caucasian students were the largest population with 64%, followed by the African American students at 30%. When I reviewed the literature, I basically grouped the strategies that were out there for improving reading proficiency into 3 categories. And the first way to increase proficiency based on the research was to plan for effective instruction. The research says that quality instruction trumps the curriculum every time. It doesn't matter how good the curriculum is, how expensive it is, how scriptive it is. Quality instruction is the best method in delivering proficient readers. Next, it talked about the importance of flexibility in scheduling, not only scheduling for the students as far as making sure that they are placed in the correct intervention classes that they need to make improvement, but also flexibility in scheduling for the teachers so that they have time to collaborate with one another. And last, in this category, it talked a lot about the importance of making sure that we read to students, with students, and that teachers don't forget to read for themselves. The next way that the research mentioned of increasing reading proficiency was to increase student engagement. Student engagement is known to improve comprehension, test scores, and it gives students the ability to gain insight not only into themselves, but also for others as well. The research says that reading will not be beneficial if students are not actively engaged in the process. If they're just calling words and not retaining any information, then it's benefiting no one. And finally, there is a direct link between engagement and student achievement. The more engaged the student is with the reading process, the more achievement they will make and success they will have. And last, incorporating instructional strategies. According to research, whenever we're teaching students how to use instructional strategies, they should be taught through explicit instruction. Students should not be asked to use a brand new reading strategy independently for the first time unless they have been taught explicitly how to do so. A need for instructional strategies as students progress in the grade levels is necessary because as they progress, the text complexity also progresses and increases. And finally, through all the instructional strategies that I found in the research, everything from skimming, scanning, predicting, summarizing, the one that kept occurring the most was the power of questioning. Not only making sure that we as teachers provide students with quality questions to answer, but in addition to that, making sure that we teach students how to generate their own questions. That has, according to research, is by far one of the most effective strategies there is. For method and study design, I took a basic action research approach. There were components that were put into place to try to accomplish the goals set forth in the project. Lots of data analysis. It was ongoing throughout the project. The implementation of research strategies, trying to go to the research and find those strategies that professionals say work best. Being creative in our scheduling process, providing ongoing professional development for our teachers, differentiating their needs the same way that we try to differentiate the needs of our students, taking an instructional support or receiving instructional support, which was guided by our administration and our instructional partners for our district, and then ongoing data chats and conferences with students throughout the process to try to see where they are they making progress? If not, what can we do so that they will? My time frame was January 2021 through July 2021. Findings, we used the iReady benchmark diagnostic 3 times per year, beginning, middle, and end. When this particular project started, we were at the mid-year benchmark, at which time 34% of our students showed proficient. 34% of our 6th grade students showed proficient. By the end of the year, 42% were showing proficient, which was an 8% increase, and for that, we're very proud of the students. The ACAP summative was reviewed, the results of that were reviewed over the summer. The 6th grade group in question, C.E. Hanna showed 55% proficiency. The state of Alabama showed 45% in 6th grade in the area of reading. Therefore, C.E. Hanna was scoring 10% above the state average. And those results of the ACAP summative are on the chart that you can see on the screen. Conclusions and implications. There was growth demonstrated, and as I said, we're very proud of that. However, we tend to plateau with scores. They tend to come to us scoring at about the same place, and they leave us scoring at about the same place. So for that reason, our district has a continued commitment of researching and finding ways to improve that reading proficiency for our students, not only for 6th grade students, but for all students. And a couple of questions that we ponder and we're continuously trying to find the answers to. How can we reach students who lack the prerequisites needed to read proficiently on grade level? And how can we close the existing gaps that they have now so more than ever due to COVID and other circumstances that lead to them not scoring as well as maybe they probably could? And what can be done to make 6th graders who live in a digital society see the value in becoming a more proficient reader? So that's a motivation question that we have constantly struggled with through the years. And on the next couple of slides, you see the references that I used in the presentation. I feel like there were a few Alabama instructional leadership standards that were mastered through this project. The first being curriculum instruction and assessment. Effective educational leaders develop and support intellectually rigorous and coherent systems of curriculum, instruction, and assessment to promote each student's academic success and well-being. The second, professional capacity of school personnel. Effective educational leaders develop the professional capacity and practice of school personnel to promote each student's academic success and well-being. And last, professional community for teachers and staff. Effective educational leaders foster a professional community of teachers and other professional staff to promote each student's academic success and well-being. My second presentation comes from Instructional Leadership 564, which was the Law and Ethics class, and it's titled Unethical Behaviors of Educators. My rationale for selecting this project is the importance of the Alabama Educator Code of Ethics, the increased media attention that educators keep getting in the newspaper, on TV, etc., and just overall teacher awareness. I was really shocked when I presented this project to my faculty for the first time of the number of teachers who told me they'd never heard of the Alabama Educator Code of Ethics. So the overview of the project, we were instructed to address 3 hot issues affecting educators, and they are inappropriate sexual behavior with students, social networking with students, and cheating on state assessments. So to begin, inappropriate sexual interactions with students typically comes in 2 forms: verbal, written, and online communication and physical contact. knowing the difference between what's appropriate and what's not. For example, praise and encouragement is okay. Making inappropriate jokes or sexual suggestive teasing with students is definitely inappropriate, not okay. As far as physical contacts, high fives, fist bumps, that's fine. Inappropriate would be any kind of unwanted touching. Next, social networking with students. Make sure that we're following any district guidelines that have been set forth. Do not follow or friend students. That's just a bad idea. Celebrating student success is okay on Facebook, of course, making sure that they have any kind of media release information that they need. Make sure that we're using caution when we're liking a photo or liking a post, and the same goes with sharing. And then avoid making controversial personal opinions that might upset or insult others. Last, cheating on state assessments. According to research, this can take place before, during, or after the test. Before the test might include things like using live items for review, failure to secure testing materials. During the test, any kind of inappropriate proctoring, not paying attention to what students are doing, which would allow them time to share answers. Leaving up posters that expose answers, especially if doing so was intentional. And then after the test, altering the answer documents or not submitting all of the answer documents. For example, leaving out those documents of students that you know probably did not score as well as others. And again, my references. And the Alabama Instructional Standard that I feel was mastered in this project was the one related to ethics and professional norms. Act ethically and professionally in personal conduct, relationships with others, decision-making, stewardship of the school's resources, and all aspects of school leadership. Act according to and promote the professional norms of integrity, fairness, transparency, trust, collaboration, perseverance, learning, and continuous improvement. Place children at the center of education and accept responsibility for each student's academic success and well-being. Provide moral direction for the school and promote ethical and professional behavior among faculty and staff. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for joining me.